right. Crystal ball time. So do we know if Jadyn Davis is going to be announcing today? Well, it's 5:34. Probably not. We would have probably heard, and I would have gotten like 5 pings by now. So it may be tomorrow, maybe the next day. However, Jadyn Davis is absolutely the first of the crystal balls. Now, here's why I think Jadyn Davis is coming to Michigan. There's really 2 factors at play. One, he's visited a lot. And this last visit this weekend, I think, was a really pivotal one towards making the decision. He had to meet Kirk Campbell in person. They've been talking a lot over Zoom and over the phone, but they really, I think, needed to have that personal time with Jadyn and his family and everything else. But he's at 90% currently on the I believe it's the On3 prediction. He's got 6 crystal balls, and they all keep upping their confidence level. So between that and also the fact that the other schools in play are starting to look elsewhere, right? Tennessee, Georgia, some of the other possibilities have been, getting other quarterback visits through. And even there was a report that TCU OC Garrett Riley was now at obviously at Clemson, right? So he apparently wasn't super thrilled with the performance that, I guess. And so there's some other schools that kind of are tapering off their interest a little bit, but Michigan is still rolling out the red carpet, and they're like, you're our guy. But there is a time limit on this. And the time limit, my guess, is April, where at that point you got to start looking at really seriously looking at other options. But I think at this point, I've seen enough where I think Jadyn Davis is coming to Michigan.
Got our buddy Desmond in the chat as well. Des, good to see you. Hope everything's going well.
Hey, Des. Gotta have a QB in today's college football climate. Would be huge if Michigan gets Davis, and especially after whiffing on Dante Moore, and kind of taking the same strategy on Dante Moore. You really got to nail, if you're going to do this 1 quarterback a year thing, you got to really nail that quarterback, right? So Jadyn Davis, you really got to make sure, and apparently NIL was a conversation, and like how he could make money with NIL. So that was something that was discussed. So I would say at this point, just like Jason said, I would be highly shocked if Michigan doesn't get Jadyn Davis at this point. And some of his Providence Day buddies, wide receivers and other positions, may also follow. Apparently, Jadyn Davis does not come alone. If he comes, then most likely you'll also see some other Providence Day high school people, eventually committing to Michigan as well, and kind of bring the band back together, so to speak. So, but this is the one, Jadyn Davis crystal ball to Michigan 2024. And we've already talked about Brian Robinson, but just based on kind of some of the things that we've been seeing, it seems to be just everything trending Michigan's way on Brian Robinson. And so at this point, going to give a crystal ball also to Brian Robinson based on just some of the reporting of the fact that it seems to be going well with him at Michigan, the talks, and just the trend of Ohio-based recruits that we're now seeing, including today, a couple of times. So I think that one would be key, especially because, let's face it, folks, after this year, this is definitely a last dance Michael Jordan type situation. There's going to be a lot of turnover, and you need to nail some of these talented players to replace the ones that are going to be going to the NFL draft and making that bonus money.
That would be 5 prominent Ohio players in the top 15 going to Michigan.
Absolutely. Yep. He is trending hard. That's why, usually it's just to report on something, just to bring it up on the show, try to have at least 2 or 3 different outlets reporting on it. To give a crystal ball, got to be like at least 5 or 6. Okay. Yeah. It's high level, big J journalism, high level. So yeah, it's trending hard, and yeah, I think it's looking pretty strong for Michigan for sure. And we also have Taylor Tatum is another one that has been just continuing to come up, continuing to be discussed on the show. And, you know, he's also crystal ball. He's somebody, I think, at 5'10". You know, I think he's considered right now the number 2 running back and number 36 overall prospect nationally, according to On3. So he would be a major pickup and then you have 2 incredible 4-star running backs competing, and it could be another Corum Edwards situation. You know, Mike Hart, you got to give Mike Hart a lot of credit. Okay. Mike Hart came from Indiana and beat Michigan in 2020. Beat Michigan at Indiana for the first time since the 1980s. And the run game was a pivotal reason why. And he comes to Michigan with a higher caliber of recruit and has really just, I think, shown with converting Hassan Haskins, number 1. That was definitely a choice to move him into that role. And then kind of growing Blake Corum. Of course, Donovan Edwards was a 5-star, but just being able to put those pieces together the way that the running game has been going the last 2 years and the recruiting, it's impressive. And you got to give Mike Hart a lot of credit for what he's been able to accomplish at Michigan the last 2 years.
And John, just to briefly get back to the Brian Robinson situation, I'm astounded. In 37 offers, and we're talking about a top 3 player in the state of Ohio and a top roughly 150 player, depending on whether you go by the composite or the 247, excuse me, ranking. In the composite, he's at 123, but you're talking about a top 10 edge rusher in the nation. And Ohio State's not on the list. Ohio State did not offer him. I don't know if he came out and just way back said, I'm not going to Ohio State, why they wouldn't offer a top 10 edge rusher in the country in their own backyard.
Makes no sense. Cincinnati did. Ohio did. And I'm not saying Ohio State. I'm saying literally Ohio, the Bobcats. So other Toledo. So other schools in Ohio did.
Yeah, this wouldn't be a player again that they would like the couple offensive linemen where there's a thought that, okay, they bypassed him because of his those 2 or 3 particular players, the offensive and defensive linemen, that they're kind of below where they're looking, but not this guy.
Yeah. And, you know, just to kind of look at some of the other opportunities, it does appear that there was warm interest at Kentucky and at Penn State. And I'm actually I was worried about the Penn State situation because they've also been doing very well with recruiting running backs, including 5-star running backs lately. So I was worried about that one, but just based on the crystal balls kind of trending his way, looks like we got 4 different predictions from media outlets, and again, the confidence is going up and going up to high in one instance, and I think that's a pretty positive sign for Michigan.